All right, today we're diving into the story of a company called DLocal. Now, on the surface, they're a payments company, but their insane growth tells a much bigger story about a huge shift happening in the global economy. Let's get into it.
So, let's start with a big question. If you're a major global brand, and you've pretty much tapped out your home markets in Europe or North America, where's the next big wave of growth going to come from? It's not about inventing some new gadget. It's about conquering a new where.
And that where is digital payments in what we call emerging markets. We're talking about a sector that's expected to hit $4.2 trillion by 2030. This isn't some tiny niche. This is a fundamental change in how money moves around the planet.
And that brings us to what we're calling the new digital gold rush. It's happening right now as we speak across Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Billions of people are coming online, and for the first time ever, they want to buy things, pay for services, and participate in the digital economy.
And here's the huge problem that global companies run into. Take a look at this gap. In emerging markets, almost 80% of people have internet. Awesome, but only 11% have a credit card. Compare that to the G7 nations. This means your standard everyday online checkout just breaks. It doesn't work. These companies have to find a local way to get paid.
So how do you solve that massive problem? Well, that leads us right to DLocal's winning strategy. They have built their entire business to be the one simple bridge that connects those global giants to all these complex but really vibrant local economies.
The absolute best way to think about it is this classic analogy. During a gold rush, the people who get rich for sure aren't the prospectors, it's the folks selling the picks and shovels. That's DLocal. They aren't trying to be Netflix or Amazon. They're just selling them the essential tools they need to operate. They handle all the messy local payment stuff so their clients don't have to.
And this is their playbook. They call it the S-curve. They get a big merchant to just dip a toe in the water, maybe just accepting international cards. But then they guide them deeper, helping them add local options like Pix in Brazil or OXXO in Mexico. With every single step, the merchant's business grows and DLocal becomes a more critical, more embedded part of their success.
Okay, so that's the strategy. It sounds good on paper, but is it actually working? Well, let's check the receipts. We're going to look at the numbers from their latest quarter, which were, to be honest, just phenomenal.
Get this, they processed $9.2 billion. That's called total payment volume, or TPV. It's really simple. It's just the total amount of money that flowed through their system for all their merchants. It's the best way to see how much business they're actually doing.
And that $9.2 billion? That's up a whopping 53% from the same time last year. Growth like that, at this kind of scale, shows some serious momentum. And no, this wasn't just a lucky quarter. Look at this chart. This is now the third quarter in a row where they've grown more than 50% year over year. That's not just a spike, that is a sustained high-performance trend.
Now, you might be looking at the numbers and saying, hang on, what about that 7% dip in net income? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing, it was on purpose. It was a strategic move. They decided to reduce their financial exposure to a really volatile Argentina by over 80%. So they took a small one-time hit now to de-risk themselves for the long haul. Pretty smart, actually.
And they're not just growing, they're getting smarter. A year ago, almost 60% of their revenue came from just their top 3 countries. Today, that's down to 49%. For the first time, more than half their business is coming from a much wider group of countries, which makes the whole company way more resilient.
So they're crushing it right now. But what about tomorrow? This is where it gets really interesting. They aren't just riding the wave, they're actively building the tools for the future of payments.
Take Smart Pix. In Brazil, the instant payment system Pix is everywhere. But it was designed for one-off payments. So DLocal built their own solution that lets people use Pix for recurring automated payments. Think subscriptions, just like a credit card on file. It's a total game changer, and they were the first to market with it.
Then there's their take on buy now, pay later. They know there's huge demand for it, but offering credit is super risky. So what do? They built a platform, an aggregator, that connects their merchants with the best BNPL providers in each country. The partners take on all the credit risk, and DLocal just takes a cut. It's a really clever, low-risk way to play. And this one might be my favorite, the stablecoin sandwich. Sounds a little weird, but it's brilliant. They are the bread in this sandwich. It works like this. Their on-ramp converts local money, say Mexican pesos, into a crypto stablecoin. That coin zips across the world instantly on the blockchain. Then their off-ramp on the other side turns it back into local cash, maybe in Vietnam. They are the critical bridge between old-school money and the new digital world. Okay, so with all of that incredible momentum and innovation, let's talk about our final section, the road ahead. What does the company expect, and what are the bumps in the road they need to watch out for?
Based on how well they're doing, they've significantly raised their forecast for the rest of the year. I mean, just look at the adjusted EBITDA. They basically doubled their growth forecast from a range of 20 to 30% all the way up to 40 to 50%. That signals an unbelievable amount of confidence in where the business is headed.
But, of course, it's not all easy. Operating in these markets is, by its very nature, volatile. The company itself is keeping a close eye on everything from new trade tariffs in Mexico to shifting tax laws in Brazil to possible currency meltdowns in Argentina. These are real challenges, but it's just the cost of doing business. It's the reality of selling picks and shovels in this digital gold rush.
And that really brings us to the final big idea here. When you see trillions of dollars in commerce moving online across these fast-growing countries, you have to ask yourself, are we watching the very beginning of a fundamental rebalancing? A moment where the Digital South rises to become the new engine of the entire world's economy? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.